But I wanted to talk about Atlus and
the world up.
The statement that they had put out right in front of the release of Persona 5 that had basically laid out exactly what their expectations...
Let's call it what it was. It was a decree.
It was a threat. And they laid out what their expectations around streaming Persona 5 was.
As well as content on YouTube.
That's right, yeah. And basically they said, because anyone who's never played the Persona games, it operates on a date structure. So you start off the game, I think you're in like mid-June or something, and as the days progress, that's how the storyline progresses as well. And basically what they said is that anyone streaming past July 7th in the game could possibly put their account in jeopardy, that Atlus and their parent company Sega would be seeking to use YouTube's copyright claim system to file complaints with YouTube, with the platform, as well as, I think, try to get Twitch to enforce this as well.
Yes. Yep.
Hey, that's a lovely Let's Play channel you got there. Such a shame would be if something was to happen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that a mafia?
That was really bad.
Try speaking American. It's the only language I understand.
And they're doing this all under the auspices that they don't want spoilers put out about their game.
This is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. First of all, if anyone wants to avoid spoilers, they won't fucking watch streams and videos. And if you're a decent human being, you will have in either your YouTube title spoilers, or if you're doing a playthrough on Twitch, possible spoilers. And if somebody comes in there and gets spoiled, guess who that's on?
That's on the audience.
That's right. It's on Joe McNobody. You shouldn't be watching the game if you don't want spoilers.
And the thing is like, I mean, to threaten people's YouTube channels, which in some cases are,
livelihoods.
The majority of their income, I think, is really dirty. Because and here's the thing, is that first of all, this is clearly a flagrant abuse of YouTube's copyright claim service. And I think YouTube needs to get involved and say, that's unenforceable. We're not willing to do that. You guys can't do something like that.
Look, it's one thing to just be like, you know what? We don't want any spoilers. Nobody can stream or play our game, or put our game out there. Fine. Like they turned off all sharing on the PS4, right? You can't stream on the PS4. You can't share screenshots.
Right.
If you want to do a blanket thing like that, sure, it's your game. That's on you. But to dictate how far people can play your game,
that's right,
before they show it and put like these little nuanced expectations on it, that is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, first of all, you Streisand affect yourself big time. I mean, anyone who didn't care about Persona 5 spoilers now suddenly cares because you're being a dick about it.
Right. This is because I've seen a lot of people who were excited about Persona 5 who straight up don't want to stream it.
Yeah.
And so the people who are people who are doing so in your face.
Right.
Yeah, I could not have cared less about Persona 5, really. I haven't played much in the series, but, well, now I kind of want to know what happens. What's this great secret they have to keep hidden from the world?
I just want to plaster Facebook with just pictures of the spoiler ending, just because.
Even worse than that.
Just to be a dick, right? Like, that's kind of that's how I feel about it.
If you think protecting people from spoilers means taking down YouTube video content of Persona 5 or stop people from streaming Persona 5, if that's how you get rid of spoilers, I got news for you. The majority of the spoilers are going to come from people who make a GIF montage of like anime cleavage, and then suddenly at the end it's like, boom,
there's
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Yeah, exactly.
You gonna take away our memes, Atlus?
See, and I think that, I mean, I've got a real problem with this, to the point where on Checkpoint this week, I issued a challenge out to Atlus because I think that this is such a scummy move. And basically the ultimatum that I gave them, we're the first radio show about video games, solely about video games, exclusively about video games. And we don't have a YouTube product. Our show isn't on YouTube anywhere.
Or Twitch.
Or Twitch. Yeah.
Technically.
And we wouldn't be streaming any of it. Mm-hmm. So basically, what I've said is, if Atlus wants, if Atlus wants to protect their spoilers, if Sega wants to protect their spoilers, then they need to come on the show. Mm-hmm. Or else I'm just going to straight up reveal the end of Persona 5.
On the air.
Just point by point.
Now,
just go through all of it.
The rules say you can't stream past 7.7. So, Nate, you could start playing the game before 7.7, and as people come into the chat room, tell them what happens after 7.7.
There you go.
No rules have been broken.
I mean, if in 6 U.S. cities you want the end of your RPG, that you're willing to take people's livelihoods away.
Yeah, Drea Poetic pointing out that technically the game's been out for 4 months already.
Yeah.
Like it released
in Japan.
In Japan,
In Japan, yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm just saying, like, if that's so important to them, maybe they should give us a little bit of time and justify that decision. And also explain how they plan on enforcing it. And then I've got some serious questions for Google and YouTube if they're going to allow a practice like this to happen on their platform. And it totally reinforces why we don't give any emphasis to our YouTube product. Why we don't pay attention, why we don't really try on YouTube.
You should call that customer support like you did with Konami.
I don't know that I actually think that we're getting a little bit farther by saying, like, look, we're gonna bust out the end of your game on the show live in 6 U.S. cities.
Get ready.
Unless you
and for all those people in the chat being like, oh, that's such a dick move, don't do that. Guess what? Here's what it comes down to, okay? If there's anybody listening who doesn't want it to be spoiled, they can turn it off.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of warning.
You can turn the
know
channel.
what's coming.
That's the whole point here. What it comes down to is that the viewer is in charge of spoilers. If you don't want it to be spoiled, you don't watch it.
That's right.
What's so hard about that? What don't people understand about that? Are you so entranced with Twitch streams and with the YouTubes that when it pops up Persona 5, you have to watch it? Take control of yourself.
Yeah. The responsibility is on you. And the fact that Atlus would come out and try to claim the responsibility for people seeing spoilers that they don't want to see is asinine to me. That's insane. Why? Why would you care?
Mm-hmm. Drea Poetic says that there's already a Twitter bot that spoils it for innocent people or innocent players trying to find tweets about it. Okay,
see, this is
the type of person that's a dick.
No.
But
the thing is that Atlus is completely responsible for that.
Yeah, Atlus brought this upon themselves.
That's right.
That's true.
No, I don't think that Twitter bot would exist if it wasn't for Atlus's concerted effort in trying to
contain spoilers.
And this is I think a really troubling move in terms of the way that game developers treat the way that their product is handled once it gets released to the public. I'm sorry, once you put it out in the public, you're done. Like, the way that you can control the information surrounding your game is over. And you've got to hand that over to your audience and hope that, if you've put together a good narrative, that the majority of your audience aren't going to want to be dicks and aren't going to want to spoil it for other people. But when you come out and you try to mandate this kind of behavior, people are going to reflexively fight back.
Yeah, 2 things happened, I think, when they put out this decree, this threat. The first thing is that you aren't protecting anyone. You aren't stopping any spoilers from happening on any streams, okay? People are perfectly capable of not watching a stream if they don't want it to be spoiled. No effect there. But what it did do is that there are so many people now that are upset with you, disenfranchised with you, whatever, that they are going out of their ways on platforms you can't control to spoil it.
Right.
All you did was hurt your own cause.
That's right. And I think that hurts anyone who has gaming, majority gaming content on their platform. Again, this is why, the focus of our product has never been on a YouTube or, on somebody else's pipeline. We've concentrated on creating our own pipeline. And the fact that, we do our show outside of YouTube, that we do our show on the actual radio, means that we're subject more to the rules of radio than we are to the rules of the way that that new media sources have to interact with gaming publishers. This idea of a blacklist, right? Like how there's a game developer blacklist, and there are just some reviewers that will never receive review copies, or they'll never receive an iota of press or an interview from certain companies who they've whose games they've reviewed negatively, right? Mm-hmm. That's a very real concept. That actually does exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking affect us. Doesn't affect us at all. Because guess what? We've got a bigger reach than any of that. Like, we hit 6 U.S. fucking cities. Our pipeline, our method of transmission is outside of that whole idea of a blacklist. Now they can blacklist us all they want, but it doesn't affect the show. It doesn't affect what we do. We don't do fucking reviews. We've never done reviews. We're not going to start doing reviews on Checkpoint. That's not what we do. We have conversations about video games and the video game industry and the people who make them. And those are the people that we're going to be looking to talk to. If they want to ice us out on an interview, oh no.
Whatever will we do?
Sega won't give us an interview, darn.
Boo.
Atlus won't give us an interview, oh shoot. By the way, they will when you're standing in front of them for something like E3, because they don't know. They just have no idea.
We're going to get you, Atlus. One way or another.
I mean, this doesn't end well for Atlus at all. Yeah. It can't end well for Atlus.
I'd honestly like to know, like, who came up with this idea and what their reasonings were that they thought, this is what we got to do, guys. Yeah. This is the best choice for our game.
Okay, so what if this is just next level from Atlus, where they don't care if you spoil the game, but because of the Streisand effect, they said this, so now they're getting all this kind of press. Like Callie over here, who doesn't care about Persona, suddenly now wants to play it.
Well, they have moved 1.5 million units of it.
Have they actually tried to DMC take down anyone yet?
According to a secondhand source, I was watching a Jim Sterling video that was talking about this exact thing, and he had said that, in fact, yes, someone that he knows has received a DMCA takedown already.
Well, shit.
For Persona 5. Okay, so let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Ryoku real quick. Ryoku, what's happening?
How's it going?
Our resident weeaboo.
That's right. So you wanted to talk about P5?
Yeah, that whole like you mentioned before, that whole trying to avoid spoilers is just bull, because the fact that the Japanese version was out has been out since September, November.
Wow.
And there's been spoiler videos for the Japanese version, and it was really hard for me to avoid, because I was trying to go into this game blind, and every time I looked on YouTube and it's like stuff on P5, I'm like, nope, get away.
Right, exactly. And that's the other thing, is that when it's been out in a region for 4 months, this seems like a crazy unenforceable task to me.
Yeah, do they go back now, and anyone who's already put a video up before they had this warning, do they ban all of them, put takedowns on all of them?
I don't know.
Is it just on American channels?
Dude, it's completely impossible to force, and anytime you do see them enforce it in some way, it's going to be someone they picked out of a hat at random to say, oh, ban it.
Yeah, they're making examples of people, which I think is just as dangerous.
Yeah.
That's if they were blanketly enforcing it across the board, that would be bad, but the fact that they're picking and choosing and cherry picking who they want to make examples of, that's even worse. That is even worse. All right. So, Ryoku, thanks for the call, man. We got to wrap it up here, but there was one email that we got that I wanted to read before we took off. So this came from Alex F., who says, hi, guys and gals, and those in between. Callie.
Thank you.
Writing in.
Oh, I get it.
Writing in because of an unavoidable family thing means that I'm unable to call in about this. The language in Atlus's note is pretty troubling from a consumer rights standpoint, but I've yet to see anybody mention the part that really takes it over the top for me. Going by what's in there, the treat of DMCA takedowns and copyright strikes seems to have no time limit. Somebody talking about the game 10 years down the road could still get flagged under these quote unquote terms. I think that if instead they had said that they would be doing this until say 7/7, like a lot of people, including myself, took from this at first glance, we'd be happy with we'd be having a very different discussion. It would still be super shitty of Atlus, but at least then the tone would be less, we'll sue you for spoilers, and more, hey, give folks that want to experience it themselves a fair chance before you really open up the discussion about it. Sorry if you've already gone over this, but it was an angle I had yet to see come up. Thanks, Alex. We appreciate that. I think we were just kind of starting to glance on that a little bit. But yeah, the fact that
there's just no time limit.
No time limit.
Well, obviously, it's not like they have automated systems going through looking for this stuff.
No,
Is there?
but let's say in 10 years that we criticized Atlus on something else about a completely unrelated different game, and they just wanted to find an excuse to shut down the channel, they would have one.
They wouldn't even necessarily need this. If they want to shut down someone showcasing their game, they can technically do that anyway.
I mean,
to me,
technically,
it was always the fact, like, whether they had put a deadline on it, like they're saying, oh, for the next month, don't play past this, or we're going to get you. For me, it was always the threat. Like, if you want to put out, a PSA to everyone, asking, guys, try not to stream past this when you're discussing the game, discuss it in vague terms, sort of like a best of practices for not spoiling the game for people. That's cool. But once the company started to threaten you on like an individual level,
right,
that's what crossed the line for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that all of this is really, really troubling. And I think that the precedence that it sets is really dangerous because, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are just going, oh, well, it's Atlus. Who gives a shit about the gay anime game? But if Atlus can succeed in doing this, it means that there's basically no way that Nintendo doesn't follow suit. And then once it becomes an industry standard to start enforcing, well, you can't stream this, you can't have a video about that, then we're really cherry picking and we're really hamstrung as creative types and creators to in terms of what we can present to our audience.
Well, luckily, I don't think that's going to be a problem because pretty across the board, I think that everyone has had pretty negative reactions to this, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that any other company is going to look at this and be like, good idea.
That was a good PR move.
Well, hang on, but that if it's successful, they will.
What does that mean, though? If it's successful in what? Successful in not spoiling people?
No, successful that it's able to get channels shut down that it doesn't want up. That it's able to enforce this on any level, whether it's through YouTube or whether it's through.
So how do you measure
filing copyright claims through through a lawyer?
How do you then measure the success of what it is they're trying to do?
They need to be stopped. They need to absolutely some kind of, if they file a lawsuit, a judge needs to throw it out, or YouTube as the arbiter in this case needs to go, no, you can't fucking do that. If YouTube allows them to do that on their platform, it doesn't matter how much bad press they're going to get. I guarantee you Nintendo is going to be right there on the heels throwing out spurious copyright claims left and right.
How does that benefit them as a company, though?
I mean,
in a vacuum, you look at it and you say, like, hey, we can silence our critics. That's sweet.
Yeah, like, okay,
that's what it is. Is that you're able to take an active role in crafting the narrative surrounding your product. Someone didn't like a sentiment that we had on this show if we were going like, yeah, Mario Party's fucking stupid. And Nintendo heard that and they want to sell as many copies of Mario Party that they want, and they can issue a spurious takedown based on an opinion or a technicality on another one of our videos. You don't think that that's a very, very sketchy and really terrifying prospect for anyone making gaming content?
Sure, yeah, that's pretty draconian too.
It doesn't, and that's the thing, is that it will inspire some kind of negative sentiment, but will it be big enough to impact Nintendo's bottom line? Will it be big enough to impact Atlus's bottom line? I don't think so. They just moved 1.5 million copies. If you said, if you took the negative sentiment and balanced it against the dividends that they're able to make with how many units they're able to move.
So this isn't
What
even
wins?
about spoilers. They're just trying to leverage themselves into a spot where if they want to, they can silence critics.
They could, yeah. That's what I see, and that's why I feel like I need to be so vocal in my pushback against it. Is that, yeah, this is less about protecting people from spoilers. It's more done under the auspices of protecting people from spoilers. But if it's successful, if it sticks, if they're able to enforce it on a platform that they don't directly own or control, then that does set a pretty terrible precedent for anyone creating gaming content who uses an image, a sound bite,
Click.
anything from a copyrighted source. This and it also really undermines the idea of fair use. I mean,
YouTube's probably going to die in the next few years anyway.
You're chipping away at the ability for people to legally, in a legally defensible way, claim fair use, and more than that, it's not even it's more like they want to make you pay in court costs to be able to make that argument, and a lot of people don't have that money.
Nope.
So, anyway, I think that's pretty much the end of Final Encountercast today.
Game over.
We're done.
Forever, because we spoiled P5.
Yeah, the shutdown's coming.
I like how we had a whole ton of momentum there, and then it just
You're just like, and
That's it, actually.
All
We're
right.
done.
and that's good.
Do we know
Cool.
the ending to P5? Because I kind of want to spoil it right now.
No, I haven't.
yeah, you have to tune in for Checkpoint if you want
Haven't
that.
looked that far ahead. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I really do feel strongly about this, and Atlus, I think, really needs to come out and either actively reverse their
So does when
decree, or they need to explain it.
where did this terms come out? Like, if you buy the game, these terms pop up, or is
No,
it
it's
just
just something they
just on a website somewhere that hopefully you've seen if you're a streamer?
Well, obviously they put it out there, and then every video game news media.
Well, I'm a
outlet
streamer
everywhere put it
and I don't
everywhere.
trust the gaming media, so I don't read any gaming news at all, and I'm going to stream P5.
Well, enjoy your shutdown.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that when you get shut down, you're going to be really surprised, I think. It's ridiculous, though. It is unenforceable, and I just, oh my God, it irks the shit out of me. Really, it really bothers me. Anyway.